I've pressed record. Right. I've got the same jumper on as last week.
So,
but not the same jumper as yesterday when we recorded this and recorded the audio, but I forgot to press record on Zoom.
yeah, there was no we about this. There was no we.
Well,
about
you
this.
didn't say, oh, I haven't heard it say recording in progress. But I realized last week the audio was quite bad, and we tried to record separate audio and do something a little bit different. And in doing so, we recorded an entire episode audio only, which I did think about maybe just putting that up. But I think it was a bit too rambly and long-winded anyway. So I think we can do it again.
Yeah, we can cover the points again.
So where did we start? Let's try and cover the same points, but a little bit more.
I can't remember where we started yesterday. I remember where we finished. Let's start with where we finished. Oh no, did we start with our favourite photo in the last week?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. There we go. We're getting in the swing of things. Bear with us.
Well, so go for it. Go on. You start.
What is your favourite photo you have taken in the last 7 days?
Okay, no, that's not what I meant. You start. What's your favourite photo that you've taken?
Oh, okay. All right. So you said me start.
Yeah, start by telling us about your favourite photo that you've taken in the last week.
So my favourite photo I've taken in the last fucking week was a photo of the pub, our local pub in town, or one of our local pubs called the Lamplighter. It was actually a photo I took whilst at work, I guess, rather than just me going out and taking photos. It's nothing special, to be honest. I know that pub and I like the photo because it looks good, I think. I've actually cropped it slightly differently to what I would normally do as well. It's cropped, I think it's 16 by 9.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now.
Yeah,
why'd you crop it like that?
Well, I wanted to give the pub flexibility to be able to crop the photo in. But I just think it looks quite nice. I think it looks quite nice like that. Yeah, to be honest, when I was taking photos, a lot of the photos I was taking of the pub were for like social media, so they're all been cropped vertically some way or another. But the photographer in me, whilst I was doing the job, still looks for kind of photos that I want to take, if that makes sense. I don't know if you have the same thing while you're at work. There's photos that I take that are probably will never be sent to the client, if that makes sense. And I think this is one of them. I thought it was a nice photo.
My photos I don't normally send to a client because they're shit.
Yeah.
So why? I mean, I've just realised this is really good audio content talking about a photo. But why? I suppose we'll put these on Instagram maybe with a post just to say here's some of the photos we discussed. Why is that image your favourite picture that you've taken in the last week?
I didn't take many photos this week.
Okay, bad answer. Why is that? What is it about that photo that you particularly like? Then
I like the lighting in it, and I think again, knowing that location and knowing that it's it's a really nice pub, right? We're in agreement there, but it's a bit of a rough looking road. I haven't done many kind of straight on photos of a building like that in the kind of professional world of things, and it was quite a happy medium between photos I want to take and photos I have to take. But again, I just like the results. When I put it into Lightroom, I didn't really do a lot to it apart from just give it a bit of a crop, and then I realised it didn't kind of fit with the other photos I've taken inside the pub. So it was just kind of a photo that kind of didn't make it into the collection, if you like. But that doesn't mean it can't be used or enjoyed. Yes. So yeah, that's the photo I like. What about you? What's been your favourite photo you've taken in the last 7 days? Again.
So other than the photo I took out of my car window of the dog and the dog.
Oh yeah, I forgot we spoke about that yesterday.
Right. So it's a terrible picture, but there was a dog in the back of a car, and the car next to that car, the license plate on it ended DOG, which I thought was quite funny. So I took a quick photo out of my car window whilst we were parked. I was waiting in the queue at the petrol station. It's a terrible photo, but it was worth taking, I guess. And do you know what? I read something the other day that somebody said no one ever won a photo competition because their photo was sharp or in focus. The people
Ah,
win. Not that I think this photo would win a photo competition, but people win photo competitions and people notice photos that are good because they're interesting or say something. They don't go, oh yeah, this was the sharpest photo that was entered, so therefore this was taken on the most up-to-date camera and lens combination possible, so therefore that's the winner. So it's a terrible, I don't think it's even in focus. And my broken phone that's like smashed up, you can't really see that. But yeah, whatever.
that's
So
interesting though that you say about that, like photos being judged that way. Would you say that you would do the same? Because sometimes I can't help just being drawn to something that looks nice.
yeah,
But
but I'd be more interested in. You're going to be more interested in like composition
yeah,
and if the photo's like telling a story or it's got something behind it, you wouldn't immediately write something off because you're like, oh well, it's not
yeah,
as slightly missed focus or it's not as
especially
sharp as it could be.
yeah, especially in street photography, right? It's
Yeah,
about capturing
exactly.
that moment. Yeah.
So my favorite picture I took was last weekend on this camera. Um, my X Pro 2, which kind of spoke about briefly before, but I was thinking about selling this because I bought that Leica and I haven't yet, and I don't know if I will because every time I use it, I remember how much of a nice camera it is to use.
Mm.
And again, it's not the sharpest camera out there. It's not the most up to date sensor or highest megapixel count or anything like that. But it's just a lovely camera to use.
So
Like I said,
what's the Leica you've got? You've got
an
the Leica M10.
M10. So it's not even the newest, one. It's what I found. I found a good deal on it and sold some equipment to buy it. And it's a lovely camera to use, but it's obviously manual focus and
Mm.
that sort of thing. So
Well, the reason I
after
asked that is I know that you've bought the Leica M10, to kind of treat yourself, right? Like you said yesterday, you deserve that shit.
I deserve,
Yeah.
yeah, I deserve it because what did I say? I deserve it because I've been a good boy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I understand the purchase of the Leica M10. Makes sense.
Mm,
Now, I know you also wanted to get another camera, which I know we've spoken about, but you also bought the Fujifilm
mm,
X-T5,
mm.
which I know we've spoke about before, and you said that one of the reasons you needed the X-T5 was for the video capability. Well, it's for your work life, yeah. The X-T5 is for you doing work outside of
Yeah.
what we're doing now,
Yeah, I
yeah.
tell you, I use the XH2S for video, and the XT5 is like backup second video camera, but also the main
Yeah.
camera used for stills.
Yeah, so and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I know we've spoken about it before, but the XT5 could replace the X Pro in pretty much every category, right?
In terms of, I have got a film recipe that I made up myself, and that's what I pretty much shoot everything in color on the X Pro. It works at night nicely, works in the day. It works in bright sunlight. It works in very overcast days. I just really like the look of it, and it's like unique to me.
Mm,
So I have dialed that into my XT5. So technically, I can take the same photos, but better.
mm.
If you consider, it's got a bigger sensor.
But
Well, same size sensor,
why
higher
are you not
megapixel
going to
count.
sell the X Pro then? For what reason? Because it looks
Um,
fucking cool, right?
So it looks cool. They do look really cool. It's pocketable with this pancake lens. It's it's small enough to fit in a coat pocket.
And it's fun to use.
It feels really nice to use. The dials actually feel a bit more robust than the XT5 because it's all metal rather than the plastic dials on the XT5. And I get quite attached to things.
Mm.
And I'm very attached to this camera because I've just used it so much and I love it. And it's got loads of little scuffs on it and stuff. That's all stuff that it's happened because me using it. And I think I'd be sad to see some see it to go to somebody else.
Yeah.
I
I don't
didn't
know.
upgrade to the X Pro 3 because hello,
Who's that?
pardon, Baby Shark. Yeah, I didn't upgrade it to the X Pro 3, which I did look at, but the X Pro 3, people have reported them. I love the form factor of it. I love the way that you close the screen and you get that little tiny screen on the back. And people have reported that they prefer the sensor on this almost because it's not quite as crisp. And there has been reports of them like breaking more easily than the 2. And I think the optical viewfinder, people prefer that. So the X100 and the X Pro are the only Fuji range with an optical viewfinder rather than only an electronic one, and that's a big win. I think, as I've seen people saying before, like if you say working all day on your computer, you spend all day staring at a screen, watching TV, looking stuff on your phone. If you go out with an electronic viewfinder only, you're then staring at a tiny little screen inside your camera. So it's nice to have that option of not doing that. And also, I believe the autofocus works slightly quicker. It's slightly more accurate if you're not using the electronic viewfinder.
It's quite interesting, though, what you said about getting like attached to cameras, because I think, like, reflecting on the cameras that I've owned and the cameras that I've got that I like, I feel like if you went back to when you first started photography or got into photography, I think most photographers would burn through as much equipment as possible, because do they want, like, I think back when I got the photography bug, I was like, oh, I want this camera, I love this camera. And I didn't really sell any, but probably because I was committing to buying cheaper cameras, right? Probably point and shoot film cameras, which we'll get onto in a moment. But now I've got a few camera bodies or a few cameras that I really trust and I really like. I can't see myself trading them, selling them anytime soon, if at all. Do you know what I mean? Would you say it would be the same with an X Pro? Do you feel like you'll have that for a long time?
Yeah, I just think I'll keep it. But I mean, when I first started taking photos, I was just happy to have a camera. I wasn't like looking at loads of other cameras that are around there. Of course, my first camera was a Leica, so I didn't need anything. A very cheap one. I mean, technically, it's a Minolta. It just it had a Leica badge, the Leica RE. But apparently, it's just a Minolta. But yeah, rebadged.
Not everyone knew that at the time, right? So everyone was like, "Oh, how dare you get a Leica?"
But it might have been a Leica / Minolta body, but like you're still using Leica glass. So it was, yeah, I loved that camera. I had to sell it recently because it broke. So I don't have that anymore, but there was just no point in keeping it. So that's partly what went to paying for that M10.
Yeah. Which you don't regret buying at all, right? It's a beautiful camera.
Sometimes, like I'll be honest, it's a bit of a goal, I think, with a lot of people, unless you're staunchly against buying a Leica or whatever. It's a piece of like jewelry for a lot of people, or it's a piece of like, oh, look at me, I've got an expensive camera. When I bought it originally, I was like, I don't actually know if I want this. It's really hard to use and you miss a lot of shots with it, and the colors, the JPEGs out of the camera are nicer on the Fuji, but the raw file is really lovely to play with on the Leica. But I don't really like editing photos a lot. I prefer taking them. But when you go out on the street with a Leica with that M10, it's lovely. It's great fun to use, and I just always think, well, I could sell it and get back what I paid for it. But
at least the kind of, I mean this in a nice way, the camera nerd in you wants to use that camera to the fullest that it can offer. Yeah, a lot of people will buy it and not know those features. I know it's a very simple camera, but do you know what I mean? Like, you know about the offerings that camera has. Do you know what I mean? And you can use it to its full potential, where a lot of people might carry around that Leica badge, like you said, just to show off.
That's why you get a Leica Q2, because you can. It's got autofocus, and yeah, but no, I would be very honest and say it's not. It's not going to make you a better photographer. It'll make you a worse photographer. and nobody
worse?
actually just about no, but it makes you. It's more of a like, oh god, this sounds so pathetic, but it's much more of a tactile experience. You can't just walk past someone and go like that, and you've got to put the camera up to your eye and you've got to focus it. And in that respect, it's quite nice that you're. Well, it does have live view, saying that, but I don't use it. So yeah, it's really enjoyable to use, and it doesn't have electronic viewfinder. It has a very nice optical like rangefinder. You know, whatever. Anyway, the point was
you never actually told us your favourite photo that you've taken last week.
I'm going to fucking cut this down. We've been speaking for about 10 minutes about this.
Well, you told us about the photo you didn't like and a shit photo, but you didn't tell us about your favourite photo. And I know what it is because we've already fucking recorded this yesterday, remember?
Yeah, so let me just finish. If you're waiting out and you've got £1,500 that you're trying to find an X100V because they're all sold out everywhere, just buy an X Pro 2. It's just as nice, and you can change lenses on it. This photo I took of my kids when they were setting up for Halloween, setting up our front garden. I just thought, oh, I'll go and take that X Pro outside and take a couple of photos. And just
I do love this photo.
Yeah, just took this really nice photo of the kids doing stuff, and I made sure I got the lamppost in the shot because it kind of framed it slightly, and I waited for my daughter to scoot past in the background. And also, it's like I don't really put photos of my kids on Instagram, but it was like the sort of photo that I could share on Instagram because you can't actually see any of their faces. And like, this is what I'm saying about this recipe that I've made. It works, it reacts really well to like sunlight, and that kind of like shooting to direct light. You get this really nice sort of glow, I guess.
I just think it's a really great photo. Composition is really nice. Like I said, knowing that it's your 3 kids, I feel like it's a really nice photo to have taken. Do you know what I mean? You should get it printed. You should have it up in your house somewhere.
Probably should.
On the toilet wall. You've got loads of photos of. This is an interesting thing to talk about, actually. You've got a lot of prints hung up around your house, right? Of kind of, is it all photography of your family? It's not all. You've got like a lot of prints and kind of like artwork and stuff from.
There's a load over there. There's two of the kids and just a load of random stuff. But why? Yeah, what's your point?
Well, I haven't got any photos of family downstairs in our house. All I've got downstairs is prints of like photos that I've either collected or taken. And I don't know why that is. I remember saying to Vicky when we moved into this house, I was like, I don't really want downstairs to be photos of family or friends or anything, because I see my family, I see my friends. I don't need to look at them every minute of every day. Upstairs, like I said to her, I was like, you decorate upstairs, make it look however you want, put family photos wherever. But we still, reflecting now, we haven't. I think I've got a photo of me and you, which Wet Plate Willow took of us.
Oh right, yeah.
And I think I've got another Wet Plate print, and that's about it. Speaking of prints, I know we haven't spoke about this yet. Got these 4 little prints from Andrew McLean, and from his new book. They came with the photo book, which we'll talk about. We'll get onto that.
Yeah, I've got that book.
Have you?
Yeah.
Did you get a copy as well? Did you?
I think so now you're saying it, I'm doubting myself.
I thought he only sent us the one, and he sent it to me, and that's why we haven't really spoke about it yet. If you listen to Sandra, I know you are, because I didn't know if you'd seen it or not yet.
I'm sure he sent me a copy.
I mean, I've sent you enough photos of just my phone looking down at the book, showing you his work, but I don't know. Oh, maybe you have. Maybe you have.
Because I'm sure I got a copy, and because I couldn't get onto I was like, I really should put this on Instagram, saying, oh, look at what I've got, like, and because I couldn't get into my Instagram at the time, I didn't. But let's just dedicate a whole episode to it, and then and get him on and have a chat. And
we've already spoken to him about that. He's going to come on.
Yeah. Right. Okay. I don't want to talk for much longer, but what else have we got? What else did we talk about yesterday? Point and shoot cameras. Do we
Oh yeah,
really
we
want to
did.
talk about that again?
Yeah.
I'll sum it up.
Well, yeah, for
I've
all
got
the
I've I've got this camera. Took it to Munich. I missed a lot of shots, and what I want I want a Contax T2 again.
mm,
That's basically that 20
that's what we
minute
spoke about. Yeah,
chat.
that 20-minute chat condensed down into 20 seconds. But you don't you had to sell your Contax T2, right? Because it broke.
It still worked, but it was mostly broken.
Mm,
Like it wouldn't shoot above 1/60th of a second.
mm.
Um, the last photo I took on that was at your house at Christmas last year.
Oh really?
Yeah, and it's just a very nice camera to use, even though it's super hyped and blah, 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 whatever. But I like it, so
Mm.
um,
Did you
that's
take any
it.
photos? Did you take any photos last night at the fireworks show?
Yes.
Cool. Until next week.
Mm. Yeah, I did. I put a couple in my Instagram story, literally just taking a photo of the back of my camera. But I'm gonna edit some. Well, I'm not gonna edit them because I took them on the XT5.
Mm.
Wanted to take it out and see how it did in low light, and had my secret recipe
Mm.
programmed in, and the classic 50mm, 35mm,
Nice.
50mm equivalent 1.4, the original X mount lens, and it was incredible. And again, I was going to take my M10, but I was like, actually, I'll probably have a child in one arm, another one, falling into mud and stuff. So it was.
Do you get put off using your Leica M10 just because of the value of it?
No, I know some people think that, but no, not really.
I've never been into that. Maybe because I've never kind of like, I feel like I've never kind of like collected much. Do you know what I mean?
No.
So I've always been someone who, if I'm in a position to buy something that's maybe a bit pricier or maybe a bit rarer, I don't know, maybe from like my skateboarding background, I've had rare skateboards or limited edition shoes for argument's sake, but I'll still use them. Same with cameras. Do you know what I mean? I'll never be put off using a camera just because it's got a price tag on or worth something, because that's why you're paying for it, right? To use it.
I think you might be a bit more aware of the fact that whatever. But like I went a few months ago. I had a job in Manchester, and I went up the night before, and I went out and took some street photography on my own, just in the evening around Manchester Piccadilly, which I didn't realise was quite a dodgy. Well, maybe not dodgy, but it's quite a rough area apparently. Didn't realise until I got out there and was like, oh yeah, this isn't very nice. But I still walked around and took some photos. Wasn't put off by it. I think it's quite a nondescript looking camera. It's just if you're really worried about it, you could tape the black dot up. But like, I think no one's going to look at if someone's going to rob you for your camera. They'll do it whatever camera you're using. They're not going to be like he's got a red dot on the front of his camera. Let's steal it off him.
They're going to see a camera and want it straight away.
At the end of the day, I've got insurance. I'd rather not have my camera stolen, but it is insured, so whatever. Anyway,
we did speak about, which I quite enjoyed talking about, was kind of staying motivated throughout the winter with the photography.
Oh yeah, okay. You were gonna, we were talking about projects.
Yeah, well, I was interested to see if anyone else, I don't know if anyone listening or watching this has ever like set themselves like a photography project, something to photograph or something to do over a period of time, whether that is a day or a month or a year, whatever it might be. But I felt inspired recently to try and do some kind of photography project for myself, not for work, not for front or anything like that, just for myself, to keep me motivated over the winter. And I was saying that for me, like, I'm quite drawn to portraiture at the moment, but I'm not too sure how that's going to work in terms of a project, because I want to be realistic with it. Because in my head, I'd be like, yeah, I'd get someone in the studio, I'd go to these awesome locations, and I'd take portraits of, all these people. But in reality, day-to-day life gets in the way, right? Like work, being busy. So I need to try and set myself a goal or a project. I want to think of a project of something that I can take that will keep me inspired throughout the winter, but also be fun to do. And regardless of the results, hopefully I can look back at the results and be like, I wish I did that, or wish I did this, or wish I did that even better. But at least it'll be a cool project to do. Do you know what I mean? Maybe get some of the photos printed. I'm not too sure.
Mm.
I actually thought about it. I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but I actually wanted to take some photos of some. We've got some flowers in the house. It's going to sound a bit cheesy. We've got a bunch of flowers. They were really cheap, and I can't remember for the life of me the name of them. We just bought them into Tesco just to put on our dining table. We had some family coming around or something, and we were like, "Well, we need to make it look prettier." But as I watched them grow over the course of a 2-week period, there was such a big change every day. I thought how cool it would be to set up maybe like Mamma Mia, like 120 camera facing this bunch of flowers and just take a photo at the same time every day over this 2-week period from birth to death of this flower or bunch of flowers. But again, I never got around to doing it. So I don't know, maybe I'll set that goal.
You could do it. I was going to say you could set that up again, couldn't you? I like it. I do like that.
But then I get scared that if I need that camera over a 2-week period, like I think like the ADHD in me is like, I can't move that camera from that tripod right now. Please don't touch it. When really I could just set a mag or something.
Or just don't use that camera. I'm sure you've had a 2-week period where you've not used that camera.
I haven't used it for. Actually, no, I have been using it recently. To be fair,
but
yeah, if you've got a project, or if you've ever done a project, words of wisdom, words of advice, or let us know what you'd photograph. Be interesting to know. And yeah, well, maybe I'll do something on the front Instagram about that as well, because it would be interesting to know what people have got set up. Have you got anything set up, or you're not really? You're more spare at the moment with photography. Like you said, you just like clicking the button, right? You like taking that photo.
Yeah, I don't like a project because I just like going out and taking photos.
See, I love that.
And I'm happy doing that.
I feel like I'm not good enough to do that, like because I see your work, I see other people's work, and I'm like, I'm not jealous. I'm like never jealous, but I'm like my photos aren't as good as that.
I agree. Yeah,
do you know what
absolutely.
I mean? Yeah.
Oh,
maybe not you. I shouldn't have said you in that sentence, but
I look at your photos and I think,
God. Well, I think we should talk about this because you've said to me now a number of times over the last few months, and I'm not too sure if it's a compliment or an insult, but you sent me a photo that you took the other day, and you said, "This is very much in your style." And it made me think that...
Oh, I was using your lens.
Yeah, you was using one. Well, that's another subject I wanted to get talking to. Do you share camera equipment with friends? Like I know we do. We share our equipment between us, but do other people do that? And if not, think about doing it. Well, I think it's a good thing to do to get used to using other equipment. But going back to the photo that you sent me, and you said, "Oh yeah, this has got Jamie Cooper wrote all over it," and I was like, "Yeah, it is. It's the sort of photo I'd take." And I'm drawn to those kind of photos. But is it my style, or is it just playing it safe?
No, I don't think it's playing it safe because it's got I can't put the photo up because it's for a client, but it's basically using a longer lens and having something just tipping into the frame in the foreground that kind of frames the...
Just laying the photos up.
Yeah, but it almost it's kind of something very out of focus in the foreground that just adds a bit of like depth to the image. I mean, I'm sure you're not the first person to do it, but when I see your photos, say, I'll see somebody you've done some work for on LinkedIn. They'll post some photos maybe on like LinkedIn. I'm just using that as an example because I've seen that recently. And as soon as I see the picture, I'm like, I know that you took that picture before I even see what it is. So yeah, it just reminded me of that.
But I was trying to reflect on that. Not your statement of saying that's a Jamie Cooper style, but maybe it's a good thing that I've now got a bit of a style. Do you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, it affects me in day-to-day photography. And it's not because I feel pressured to take those kind of photos, because I'm naturally drawn to taking those kind of photos. Maybe just with the equipment I've got or the cameras I use, they're the kind of photos that I enjoy taking. But it almost puts me off trying to take other photos because I don't think they'll be as good as... Like, am I taking photos like that because I'm drawn to them, or am I taking photos like that because it's safe? Do you know what I mean?
I just think that style of image works well for like professional
commercial stuff
work for and for clients. They see it and it's not an easy win, but it's a good... It's not an easy sort of style to get right, and I think it's a good way of differentiating from that's work you do professionally to like I wouldn't take that style of image. I wouldn't use an 85mm equivalent lens on the street. It's a good way of differentiating between what you do personally and what you're doing professionally.
So that's what I mean. As much as I still love street photography, I'll walk around with my little Fuji X100 all day doing street photography and love every single moment. But then I think about photos that I want to take in my photography journey, in my photography career, not professional career, just photos that I want to take. And I can't help but still think I'm drawn to things. Maybe just because I'm into portraits at the moment. I've taken a lot of portraits recently, or more set up kind of photos, if you know what I mean. And it almost puts me off doing street photography at the moment because there's certain photos that I want to take, if that makes sense. So should I be spending all my time trying to take those photos, or should I just go out and take photos when I can? Because that's what I enjoy. I'm still like you. I still want to walk around and just take photos. But when I look back at them, I'm like, I've still got this burning sense in my head that I'm like, I've got an idea for something at the moment, and until I do that, then it's not good enough. That'll do. What should we leave it with? What did you recommend to watch? Something to watch on Netflix or Amazon or whatever now? Just general movie
on
to watch.
Infinity Pool. It's mental. It's fucked up. It's
just leave it there.
weird.
Just watch that. Just watch Infinity.
Yeah. And what were you going to watch?
Well, I was going to watch Last Night in Soho, but you said it was dog shit, which I'm surprised with because I really like Edgar Wright.
People love it. I think it's stupid. Watch it.
I'll watch it.
Know what you think?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a Last Night in Soho spoiler special where we can, it looks great, of course.
Yeah.
It's brilliant but watch it and let me know because I thought it was daft.
Cool.
All right, bye.